Hello everyone, I'm Wibbert. This is one of my builds. It's Bob's Town. This is Bob's house. Bob lives in a quiet, well, it's not really a neighborhood. He lives near a lake in a quiet field with a little generator near his house. Here you can see the lake with a nice view. He lives with a house with a nice view of the lake, and he has his little shop nearby. It's called Bob's Shop because Bob is not super original. And one day, Bob came across some money. Um, yeah, there was a car in his driveway or at the shop that was left there for like 6 months. And at one point, he just decided to check it out. And it turned out there was like $500,000 or dollar reduce in the car. So, yeah, and he just freaked out at first. And yeah, at some point he decided to use the money to buy the land. So he bought this huge area of land and decided that he wanted to use that land to share the nice lake with more people. And he looked around and started to think of ideas of what he wanted to do with this area. And just to get things started, he invited some more people over to move into this area and to share his joy for the area and to yeah, make this area that he loves and where he grew up uh, an iconic part of the landscape. So some people moved in, and yeah, he was very happy about how enthusiastic people were about this new city that he was building. And yeah, he was also getting a lot of requests from companies about wanting to build some industry nearby. And he decided, okay, let's take some part of this land and let's give it some designation for industry. But he didn't want to use farms or dirty industry. At first, he was thinking about dirty industry, but he decided that dirty industry would really ruin the nice lake and the nice area that he loved so much. So he decided to use, well, to make uh, the area only available for high density industry. And yeah, the companies said that they wanted some power before they were able to move in and start construction. So he decided to build a little bit of a power plant and he looked around for a nice spot. And yeah, he thought near the water makes sense. It's a geothermal power plant. So it, I don't know how those work, nor did Bob, but he thought it would be nice to have one near the water. And then he provided some water access because, well, people like water. They like to drink water. They like to use water for all kinds of things. And he thought it was a good idea to provide some water. And with all the new industries that were lining up to join the city, uh, he decided that it would probably be wise to also add some more homes. So he decided to um, redo some of his roads and extend the road network or street network. And he built a little bit of a neighborhood. And this neighborhood, yeah, he had a bunch of different ideas about what he could do with the neighborhood, but he decided that he wanted to keep some little shops near the central road because that's the way it had always been, and well, always, at least for as long as he could remember. And he decided he didn't want to make this new project that he was embarking on yeah, he wanted to continue some of the things he loved from his childhood. For instance, the feel of the small shops near the road, and yeah, the feel of some smaller homes near the water, and maybe some more higher density homes near the road. So we just decided to make a little bit of a neighborhood and give them some water. And yeah, so he published a request. Well, not a request. It was more of an invitation for anybody looking for a nice place to live with a lot of opportunity for jobs. And people moved in pretty quickly. And at first, people just built their small homes and started living in these small little houses. And it was all fine because, yeah, even though he had a different plan in mind for this little area for the future, for now it was fine with just small homes and nice little neighborhoods for these people. And he decided to give more shops because it's always nice to have a shop nearby. Even though his shop used to be in the middle of nowhere with just people passing through town visiting it, he thought it would be nice if you live somewhere to have a nice little convenience shop nearby or convenience store. I don't know what you call those. But as the people moved in, they were asking for more jobs because, yeah, the factories that were developed were quickly filling up, and the shops also wanted more goods to sell, and yeah, getting the goods from the factories nearby was a lot more efficient for them because they, yeah, whenever they had a request for a new stock, it would be um, answered much more quickly. So he decided to give them some more space for the industries, and quickly the industries moved in and provided more jobs for the little town that was growing. And as the factories moved in, there were more and more people wanting to move in. So, yeah, he hired some architects to design some higher density buildings to let more people live in the small area that he had designated. But he also embarked on a little bit of a adventure, I guess, to yeah, to look for some different ways to provide more homes. So he also contacted some architects to design some little neighborhoods for him, and he used those neighborhoods to yeah, to quickly fill in some big area, but also to give the area a bit more consistency throughout it. And yeah, so he decided to put down some roads or streets as the basic infrastructure, and he zoned this um, yeah, this area. He just started with a couple of blocks because he wanted to see how the people would respond to this little project he was on. And yeah, since he pretty quickly was seeing some good results, he also quickly expanded on this idea. And as more and more people moved in, he was starting to make some pretty nice money. So he was thinking, wait, this is actually a good way to make a living and to expand on his fortune that he started this city with. So, yeah, quickly the people moved in and they were very positive about these new neighborhoods. Some of the areas had some really nice parks, and some other areas were pretty, yeah, pretty basic, but it was a good start. the people had everything that they wanted in their immediate little area. And so, well, they had everything that they wanted, but the job market was feeling a little bit claustrophobic for them. So he decided to give them some more jobs. And yeah, he wanted to continue uh, on the same little grid that he used before in a general way, but he forgot to put that one, to continue one of those middle roads. But he was like, well, whatever, maybe some bigger buildings will develop there. It's gonna be fine. So he checked to see if everybody still had their water, and they still had. And yeah, quickly the companies moved in. Some people were complaining about water, and that was because the water tower wasn't enough anymore. The capacity for the water tower was pretty big, but it wasn't big enough, so he decided to use some of the land near his house to build a big pump because, um, yeah, he he didn't want to burden other people with his water pump. At first, he thought about maybe just putting it near some neighborhoods, but then he thought, well, I might as well be the guy who has to live nearby a water pump. Would be kind of rude to make other people do that. And he also checked for water pollution because some of the new industries were more of a manufacturing kind, which resulted in some water pollutions. And he wanted to keep the city water clean and healthy. And just like that, he built a little water pump. And after building the new industry area, he decided that, yeah, everybody's just using their cars. And he thought maybe it would be nice if some people uh, were using their bikes because it's more healthy for the people and it's a good way to enjoy the new landscape or the new landscape, the big landscape. So he decided to put down some bike paths in order to facilitate anybody who wanted to use their bikes to go to work with a good mode of getting there. And as he made the bike path, he also felt that the new area he was enclosing would be nice for some more industry. So he decided to also make some roads there for the new industry to develop next to. And then he zoned some industry, and with the rail lines that were already going there, he thought it would be kind of smart to make some industry next to the rail so they could use the rail for their freight freight needs and would have a nice access to the general freight network to yeah, be able to buy and sell their goods to anywhere. And at this point, he noticed that some people were a little bit, yeah, he had some conversations with his neighbors. And whenever he had like a small discussion, he just felt that he wasn't really able to have an interesting conversation with most people. So he decided that he wanted to change that and provide some good schooling to these people that lived here in order to help them find the right words for whenever they were making an argument or whenever they were sharing their ideas. And yeah, as the schools came, also some more wealthy people moved in because, well, it wasn't really wealthy people moving in. It was just that the people were able to get better jobs with their education. So they ended up hiring some architects and redeveloping their homes, which was a pretty nice side effect. And here he he hired some architects to design a hospital for him. And the idea that he had was that um, he just wanted a hospital that looked a lot different from other hospitals in other cities that he had been to, and he wanted something that worked on a diagonal road instead of just a straight one, because he thought he might make a nice little neighborhood around it. And so he started planning and making some roads and yeah, rethinking the whole infrastructure around this place. And yeah, just like that, he built a nice little hospital. And this hospital had a lot of capacity compared to a normal hospital in the other cities. And um, yeah, the reason for that is that it just was a more efficient hospital. But then disaster broke out. A big fire threatened to burn down one of the factories. But quickly he hired some firefighters to bravely fight the fire, and everything was okay. And here he decided that the area near the hospital could need some nice little shops. And yeah, so he decided to designate some area for shopping and small offices. And yeah, he just decided to take a look at the little hospital or the big hospital, I guess. And he thought it looked pretty impressive. But he also noticed, uh, yeah, I don't know why he didn't notice that before, but there was an emergency area on the back side, and he hadn't even given them any connection. So yeah, he decided to remedy that by giving it another road connection. And then he had some trouble getting the road to look quite right. But in the end, he hired a nice civic architect to make the road connection look just the way he wanted it. And just like that, he built a nice little hospital area. And the people in the town were pretty impressed with the new hospital and the new facilities and the nice little shops that were starting to develop around it. So he was pretty happy with himself. And at this point, he decided to hire a development firm to um, yeah, to design a big neighborhood for him. But at some point during the design process, the firm went bankrupt, and it took really long for them. Yeah, well, they went bankrupt, so he went looking for another firm to take over the process of developing this neighborhood, and it took a while before he could find a firm that managed to fit the budget for the project. So yeah, for now it was just a bit of blank space in the city, and that was a bit of an embarrassing thing for him for a long time because yeah, he had just hoped that that project would look so nice, and then there was just this big gap because yeah, some company couldn't manage their finance properly. But at this point, he also looked at some crime statistics, and he noticed that there was a lot of crime brewing in the city. And yeah, he wasn't about that crime game, so he decided to hire some police to fight the crimes. And here he was trying to attract a gas station company to come into the town, but yeah, he couldn't figure out what kind of size of the lot that they needed. So it ended up being taken over by smaller shops. And um, yeah, probably in the next episode, you'll see me or you see Bob experimenting some more with this little gas station areas. But for now, he just ended up growing some pretty nice agricultural shops, and he was actually kind of satisfied with that because, yeah, it would be pretty healthy for the people to be able to buy some fresh fruits, and yeah, he was pretty happy with that. And yeah, the city was growing steadily, but he also decided that there needed to be some more people in the city because he was a bit of a greedy man. And what greedy people like most is more money. And more people meant more money, so he decided to just designate some more residential areas so a lot more people could move into the city. And yeah, pretty quickly a lot of people moved in, and he decided, yes, let's make some more residential areas. So he planned out some new roads or streets. I don't know why there's a difference between the two words, but whatever. And yeah, he decided to designate some new home spaces. And he kept the area near the road for commercial purposes for a couple of reasons. Because shops really like it when a lot of people know where they are. So when there's more people driving by, the shops will have more people knowing that they even exist, and just a greater opportunity for customers to come by and yeah, use the shops. And another reason why you don't want to build too many homes near a road, at least Bob thought, is because near a road there's a lot of noise from all the cars. And well, in his experience, it was very nice to live in a home that had minimal noise from cars. So he didn't want to make the people live in a home that had just constant car noise day and night. And at this point, he decided to hire some park um, designers to yeah, to liven up the area a little bit with some trees, and he thought they looked pretty nice. Now at this point, there was a lot of people living in the city, so Bob decided he needed to upgrade his home a little bit, and from his little house, he upgraded it into a small mansion. And well, with the small mansion, it he decided that the gravel road had kind of outgrown its purpose, so he decided to upgrade the road to some nice brickwork to fit with the small mansion, and yeah, to just make this drive from wherever he was coming from to his home. I guess he would be coming from his little shop because he still had his little shop. He wasn't working in it anymore. Of course, he hired some people for it, but he still owned the shop, so he was still the supervisor. He still regularly went there. And yeah, driving down a bunch of gravel road, it wasn't as um, good for his car, and it just wasn't as comfortable as driving on this nice brickwork. So he decided to use this brickwork. Also because it looked a bit fancy, and he's like, yeah, he's a guy who likes to have fancy things. And then he decided to fill the area around his house a bit more with some more people so that they also could enjoy the nice view of the big lake that was nearby. So he yeah, he decided to hire some people to well he didn't hire new people, he just hired the people that he was already talking to about the big project that had failed because of the bankrupt company, and he decided to hire them for this project as well. And yeah, for some reason, some parts of the project did start growing or developing quite quickly, but yeah, this company also went bankrupt, so he ended up having to look for a third company to take over the big project. Well, but the two different projects, and yeah, it was a bad experience for him because yeah, he was a bit disappointed about the big companies that just kept uh, going bankrupt. Well, they went bankrupt for a couple of reasons. In part, they went bankrupt because they were just bad with their money, but also because um, yeah, Bob wasn't paying them enough. I guess he was just always looking for the cheapest contractor, and that was what was causing him to get these projects to go bad. But he just kept on going, and he actually even expanded on it. He just made sure that some more areas got developed, and yeah, just kept filling in the area with more houses and more houses. But near his own home, he decided that he wanted a little bit of a, yeah, it's not really a park, but he wanted to decorate the area near his home with some nice flowers and stuff. So he decided to put down some nice little grass and some flowers, but the flowers weren't blooming yet because it was still in the fall. And yeah, flowers tend to just bloom in the spring. So yeah, he had some trees planted in order to give a nice, yeah, nice additional color to the area. And also because he just, yeah, he liked trees. He didn't have a lot of trees around him when he grew up, but he also always fantasized of living near the woods, so he decided to have some people come around and plant a whole bunch of different trees. Well, he only used two types of trees, or they used two types of trees, but yeah, he did like the look of it, the variation of the colors. And at this point, that generator was still next to his home, spewing green smoke. And yeah, he just wasn't fed up with it yet. But at some point, I guess he will be at some point in the future. We do not know yet when. But yeah, he just kept on designing some more neighborhoods because that's what he liked doing most, designing little neighborhoods and providing people with more opportunities to live in this lovely little area that he wanted to share with as many people as he could. And in this area, he decided that he didn't want to have too many big houses and buildings there. So he decided to keep it low density because it looked better with the farming shops or shop farms or whatever you want to call them nearby. And yeah, it just made more sense at the edge of town. And at this point, the big project had developed, and he was really happy with how it looked. Gave him all sorts of ideas of doing projects like that in the future, but he was also noticing that that project meant that a lot of people had moved in. So he decided to give them a lot more jobs. But he also noticed that there was some garbage piling up in the streets, and yeah, he kind of felt stupid about forgetting to provide a way for people to deal with their garbage. He always just used to burn his own garbage in his backyard, but at this point, there was so much garbage going around that he felt that people burning it in their backyards was a bad idea. So he contacted a company that would um, provide with relief of the garbage um, through rail connection, and he decided to build a little bit of a rail connection for that company. But yeah, he did continue the rail connection a bunch, but he also had some plans about building a big freight yard at some point in the future, and he didn't want to um, limit his choices in how he wanted to shape the freight yard. So he decided to just make it a dead end rail bit where the trains would just have to turn. And yeah, he decided to add some more industry because the people were looking for more jobs. Since the new area that had developed, the big new neighborhood, it contained like 7,000 people. So, yeah, with 7,000 people added to your city, um, he almost doubled. Well, he didn't double from that one alone, but the other projects also finished because the new company was pretty good at getting their projects finished very fast. I guess they must have cut some corners there, but in the end, he liked the result, so he decided to not think about it too much. And pretty quickly, the new industries decided to move in, and he thought, wait, let's add some more shops and offices for these people because industries is fine and all, but an industries generally are more efficient when they have some offices to provide them with ideas and yeah, to help them manage their um, products and their income and expenses. So he decided to designate some more area for some offices near the hospital because he thought that would make sense. And apart from offices, there were also some small markets coming in. And at this point, the Mayor Bob, decided to just look around town for a little bit. Since a lot of people were always visiting his home, he decided to take a little walk near the beach on the new yeah, bike path that he built. And he decided to take a look at the new big neighborhood and the way it looked for him. And there wasn't a lot of wealthy people living in that neighborhood, but it was alright. They had anything that they would want. And he decided to look around the industrial area. And yeah, he just liked the look of those big buildings with all the pipes and stuff going all around. And the hospital, he really liked the look of that hospital. So he decided to just stare at it for a little bit and observe how the people drove around it and were enjoying his city. And there was also a little marketplace near the hospital where he found a little market stall that had some tropical fruits that he really enjoyed. So he actually ate his first mango that day. And at another point in time, he decided to visit some of the more rural areas and just look at the trains and just enjoy the little homes that people had built for themselves. He was really impressed with the creativity people had used in designing their little neighborhoods. Because at some point, after the firms had built the initial projects, people were just developing their neighborhood on their own accord. Anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you like this new approach, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.